Penny, we're out here once again bullhorning your legislature because you are still walking us down this path of complete destruction. I can't believe that all it took for you to tuck your tail between your legs and start selling out the Albertan people again was a few mean stories from the leftist media. You came out and were actually doing a great job for about a week. And then we saw the leftist media team up on you and bully you and make fun of you, and you folded. And you stopped walking down the path that you would have needed to walk down to be considered an actual leader. Myself and Josh and the others that organize and try and fight against your government and the insanity that you're pushing on us, we are the real political leaders of Alberta. Because when you read your Facebook comments, you are not representing the people in those Facebook comments who are lighting your ass up every single time you post about COVID. We, as the people who are out here holding you accountable, we represent the voice of those angry people. The Albertan people are furious with you, and guess what? The people who are the most furious are your voters, your political base. You want to wonder why your approval rating has gone down? It's because Albertans are not a bunch of sheep. We don't like being told that we have to wear a mask and we have to get into the sphere and we have to do this and do that. We can look at facts for ourselves. What do you always say when you're patronizing us and telling us about, oh, have some of your freedoms back? What do you always say? Albertans are responsible. Albertans are intelligent. Albertans can think for themselves. Really? Then why are you treating us like children? Actually, you're not even treating us like children. You're treating us like cattle, because people treat children with love and deference. You're treating us like a bunch of clients who, for some reason, are under your servitude. Guess what? You work for the people. This is a democracy, not a dictatorship, no matter what Bill Penn says. Do you hear me? And so I just can't believe the level of corruption. I'm so disgusted with the quote-unquote leadership we have in Canada. We have to put up with Justin Trudeau and his insanity and him saying, stay in your house, you're not invincible, you're killing everybody, and then walking out and taking a knee in the middle of a bunch of protesters. So that's who we have at the federal level. Great. Who do we have at the municipal level? We have the horrible Iverson, the guy who said he was going to lock down Edmonton because people were playing basketball, and that was such an affront to him. And then less than a week later, he's out with 10,000 leftist protesters mucking it up. That's who we have to deal with on the municipal level. And all we wanted was a little bit of leadership from the provincial level, who has a lot of jurisdiction about these health requirements. And what did we end up with? A little fat hobgoblin troll who thinks he's God and gets to waddle around and rule over us. That's disgusting, and I'm sick of it. You, Premier Penny, are the archetypal hobgoblin fat troll waddling around thinking you're God, and Hinshaw is the archetypal cackling witch who thinks that she's God and she has all the spells to cast on the Albertans, and she's stirring up her little cauldron of lies every single press conference. We are literally in some kind of godforsaken fairy tale of good versus evil, with an evil hobgoblin and an evil witch destroying our lives and killing us. And that's ultimately what it comes down to. You're killing us. When you don't allow people to earn a living, that kills them. When you don't allow children to have a normal life, that traumatizes them. When you don't allow people to go to church and have a community, you take away their hope and their will to live. We already knew that Alberta was a powder keg and was on the edge before all of this started. People were already on the verge of hopelessness, and what did you do? but listen to the UN and listen to the World Health Organization and allow yourself to be pushed around like a little coward, because that's what you are. You're a coward. You're afraid of the left. What does it mean when you get to waddle around and bully us, those of us who are Christian and love going to church and sharing in our reverence with God, and you waddle around and bully us, but when the leftists do a 10,000 person protest, you're nowhere to be found. You know what that means? It means you're a coward, Premier Kenny, because you will not call out the left, and the left in this province gets to run around and do whatever they want. But when we tried to organize protests against this horrific government overreach, we were arrested by your government. And don't throw the sheriff's branch under the bus. Again, that's called a lack of leadership. Again, that's called being a coward. You know what would really help Premier Kenny? You know what? The gyms are opening back up again. Why don't you go lift some weights and bump up your testosterone level? Because I don't know what kind of estrogen thing you have going on right now, but a man should not have that physique. That's the physique of a couch potato who has no will and gets bullied and pushed around by the left. Why don't you go do some bench press and get a bit of courage, because you are driving people into destitution. Do you read your Facebook comments? Do you read the people who say, I can't reopen my business, I never qualify for any of this money, my business is closing? Do you read about the stories of suffering that you're causing? And where, while we're on the topic, are the numbers for the suicide deaths and the drug overdose deaths? Because you know what? BC released that data, and what did it show? Wow, who could have ever guessed? But the deaths from overdoses were at least triple the deaths from COVID. And guess what? You know those people who are dying of drug overdoses and hanging themselves? Those are young people, young males like myself, who have lost all hope in their life, and so they kill themselves. Do you know how tragic it is for someone to take their own life because they've lost all hope? That's horrific. And you know who's dying due to COVID? You yourself pointed out correctly in the legislature that the average age of death for this virus in this province is above the life expectancy. You know what? You may call me a cruel person for saying this, but it's a lot more tragic for a young person to hang themselves because they've lost all hope in life than for an old person, as tragic as that is, an 83-year-old, to die in a nursing home. There is a qualitative difference. It does make a difference. And how the hell did you decide that it was better for people to hang themselves and die of drug overdose deaths than for, based on your theory, for people to die in a nursing home? I thought Dr. Hinshaw, the first law of medicine was do no harm. That's how I know you're a quack. That's how I know you're a witch. Because you haven't said the word zinc once. We have a treatment that's basically 100% efficient, effective, as long as you use it early enough in the treatment cycle, and that's hydroxychloroquine to pump the zinc into the cells. We already know what the Achilles heel of this virus is. It's called zinc and hydroxychloroquine. It's the #1 most doctor-recommended treatment across the world of COVID-19. And I haven't even heard you say the word once! All I hear out of you is how Bill Gates' vaccine is going to save us all. Do you know that Bill Gates is obsessed with depopulation? Do you know that this economic shutdown is probably going to start 100 million people in the third world? Guess where I got those numbers? From your God, the United Nations. That's right, Hinshaw. That's right, Kenny. You're killing third world people. Maybe you don't care about Albertans, but come on, isn't the new thing caring about the third world? How dare you kill 100 million third worlders? Because yes, money to cut the grass anymore. We're turning into a third world country. But you know what happens when the first world collapses? The third world dies. And that's what this policy is causing. The mass death of poor people across the world. And all you talk about is a Bill Gates vaccine. And did you see Bill Gates' face when he was on the news a couple days ago talking about, oh, well, actually, we have to make sure that black people get the vaccine before anyone else. Did you see his face? He looked so guilty. Well, his wife was saying that because, guess what? Bill Gates doesn't love black people.
That's right.
News alert, Bill Gates thinks there's way too many people on Earth and wants to get rid of us. That's your God. That's who you say you're going to put in charge. That's the person whose vaccine you want to shove in our arm. And after you've got the models and everything else completely wrong, what credibility do you have at this point? You could come up to me and say 2 plus 2 equals 4, and I would ask for another source because your credibility is completely shot. But you don't have any humility at all. You can't say, sorry, we got it wrong. You can't even say we might have been a little bit overboard because you can't come to the truth, which is that this whole thing has been a scam. This whole thing has been a crime. This whole thing has been a hoax since day one. And that's why you can't say, we might have gotten it a little wrong, we might have done this wrong here, that wrong there, because if you admit anything, you will be forced to cede more and more and more ground until you are forced to admit this entire thing is a hoax. That's why you don't cede any ground to the left, because they will keep asking for more and more and more until we get to the point where we're at now, where our nation and our province has been radically transformed. Funny, you can stand up to facts and reality and you'll fight your ass off to oppose facts and reality and basic science, but you won't oppose the left. When they did a 10,000-person rally that looked like one stop, you didn't even have a harsh word. What the hell is that about? It's called equal treatment before the law. Kenny, I'm sure you have some lawyers there who would be happy to educate you on that. How is it equal treatment before the law when a bunch of radical Marxists can do a 10,000-person rally, but I can't go to church? What the hell, man? That's disgusting. How do you look at yourself in the mirror when you wake up in the morning? And you know what? I always see on your Facebook posts, you know what you do that disgusts me? You use the memory of veterans who have given their life to patronize Albertans. I see that constantly on your Facebook page. You know what? Those Christians, those Christian men who went off and fought and died for freedoms, including religious freedoms, they would kick your ass if they saw you for what you've done to this province. And you know what? Back then, men were men, and men were strong, and there were real communities, and there were real churches. If this was in the 30s, the 40s, the 50s, you would have been dragged out by the back of your shirt and kicked the hell back to your Jesuit school in San Francisco. That's what would happen if there were real men still in this province. So you better be happy that everybody's as fat as you are, and everybody's a drunk probably like you are based on that beer belly. Be happy that that's the state of men these days, because you should have been dragged out and given a spanking for what you've been doing a long time ago. You need to be reprimanded. You need to repent. You need to get right with God, because I thought we were going to be able to hold you accountable. I'll be honest. We were making great momentum. I thought we were going to hold you accountable. You know what? I'll be honest. It looks like you're going to slip away. You slimy little creature you are. It looks like the more we squeeze on you, you're going to pop right out of our hands like a bar of soap. So you know what? We might not hold you accountable. It's true. We might not be able to pull it off. But guess what? The ruler of this universe, you think that we're a bunch of weak, cowardly people? The ruler of this universe is gonna get your ass, Kenny. You have it coming back to you 1,000 times over. All the the suffering that you've caused will be put back on you once you leave this mortal life. And guess what, Kenny? It's coming. Trust me, 100%. As sure as I'm standing here at the steps right now, God will hold you accountable. And don't call yourself a Christian, and don't say you stand on the side of religious people, because you are going around with this lie that the churches were never closed. If you make restrictions that are so onerous that the churches have to close, that's called closing the churches. How dare you lie before the Albertan people and the Christians of this province and before God and tell us that the churches were never closed. Many churches are still closed because the restrictions you have made are so onerous and people are so afraid of the government and them being ticketed and harassed that many churches are still closed. Call the churches in the area. Look at their websites. They are still closed. And you know what? My church reopens in a week. This Sunday is the first time in almost 4 months that I'll be able to go to church. And guess what? I'm not going because I'm not complying with the way that you have turned my church into a concentration camp, military hospital, where everyone has to be afraid and there's all these restrictions and rules, like it's a Stasi government or something. I'm not complying with that. That's not reopening the church. You can't turn my church into a military hospital and say, oh, what are you complaining about? Stop whining, churches are open. No, they're not. Until we are back to the old normal, the churches are not open. Until we stop lining out outside grocery stores like this is a communist country. The grocery stores and the businesses are not reopened. Until we have the old normal, not this Orwellian new normal phrase that you're trying to use, which means new world order normal, until we have the old normal, which was already shitty. It was already horrific, and that wasn't enough. You were already so powerful and so unaccountable, and it wasn't enough. You had to come back for total power. You had to close the courts and pass Bill 10 and sidestep the legislative branch and make yourself a dictator. And I know that you know it was unethical, because when we asked about it in your live stream, you started to sweat and you started to ramble and have these long-winded explanations because you know you're guilty. And you know what? Like I said, I don't know if you'll face justice in this life, but there's the life after this. It's a blink of an eye, the time that we're here, Premier Kenny. And you're going to find that out because you failed the test. The test was to come to this earth and be honest and treat people with dignity, and you failed. You sided with Satan, and you will face your retribution. I promise that. Thank you.
Amen. Shame on you, Jason Kenny.